Hunter.
I'm Jennifer.
Today we're going to be covering the study guide of the Bible recap, day 3. It's Genesis 8 to 11. So a quick summary rundown of each individual chapter. Starting with chapter 8. So this is where the flood has already came through and everything's been kind of wiped out besides Noah and his family and all the animals that were on the ark. In chapter 8, the flood starts to recede, which means it goes down. The waters start dropping to where the ark finally rests on top of the mountain. A little bit later, you start seeing a couple more mountains as the water starts dropping more and more. At this point, Noah sees that this is happening, so he sends out a raven first to see just how dry it was, but it came back. And then he sent out a dove, and it came back. He did that a couple times until eventually the dove came back and it had a olive leaf in its beak. And he was like, okay. So he waited a couple days and he sent the dove back out. This time the dove didn't return. So at that time he knew, okay, it's about time to get out this ark. That's when God told him, he said, hey, take you and your family, your wife, your son's wives, and leave the ark. Let all the animals out. So Noah obeyed him. And then at that point, that's when God promised Noah, this won't happen again. And that moves on to the covenant that God gave to Noah and his family. That's in chapter 9. It's the rainbow, yeah. First, God actually, he blessed Noah and his family. He told them, be fruitful and multiply. And then he went on to demonstrate what the covenant would be. He said, every time you see this rainbow, you will know, and I will know, that I am keeping my promise to you. So the rainbow was just a sign of his promise to us at this point. So if we see the rainbow now, we know God is still honoring that covenant with us. God also went on to tell them not to kill people. So he said, if you kill somebody or they kill somebody, the one that does the killing will be put to death. He also said the same thing about animals killing humans. And later on, after everything was said and done with that, Noah, after all of this, he decides, I'm going to get drunk. So he got drunk, he passed out, and his son Ham found him first. But Ham went and told his brothers, he's like, hey, look at our dad. Look, he's a drunk. So he did that, and then he left. And then
he was naked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was naked.
So yeah.
So then his brothers Shem and Japheth, they saw that their father was naked, so they turned their back to him and took a cloak and actually put it over him so that he wouldn't basically disgrace himself. After Noah saw this or learned about this, he then went and cursed Ham because Ham looked at him and then basically he rumored about him. He's like, hey, this is what happened. He's spreading rumors, and that's not something God wants us to do. More importantly, Noah was very mad at this. So he cursed Ham and all of his descendants, especially Canaan. And starting in chapter 10, you get the genealogy of all of the descendants, or a handful of descendants, from the sons of Noah. So it goes on to list all of them. There's quite a few. I would take a look at it and just kind of see what y'all think about that, because it's kind of interesting to see all of the different names and whatnot. Then in chapter 11, we start seeing the Tower of Babel. Babel, yeah. And then that's where he's like, they're building a tower to reach me in heaven. There's nothing that these people couldn't do if they're all teamed together. So he decided that he was going to confuse the languages and kind of scatter everybody so that we couldn't all come together like that to try to be more like God, get closer to God in that kind of way, think that we're better than God. And then at the end of chapter 11, it is still going into some genealogy. The genealogy of Tara, I think that's what her name was, or his name was. Well, it's the father of like Lot and all of them, and then Abram, which is Abraham. It talks about him being born under this genealogy. So let's get into the questions.
All right. So we're going to get into the study guide questions. And for day 3, number 1 says, review chapter 8, verses 16 through 17, chapter 9, verse 1, and chapter 9, verse 7. Write out the specific instructions from each verse. To whom or to what does each set of instructions apply?
So from 16 to 17, he said, exit the ark with your wife and your sons and their wives. Then bring out all the living creatures that are with you. They will be fruitful and multiply on the earth.
So 9:1 says, then God blessed Noah and his sons and told them, be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth. 9:7, now be fruitful and multiply and repopulate the earth. So, to whom or what does each set of instructions apply? I mean, overall, I think I would say Noah and his sons.
It talks about Noah and his sons and their wives. And then also he's instructing the animals too, but more so Noah and his family.
To come out of the ark in that 16 through 17, yeah. Number 2 says, with whom does God make this covenant? And it references chapter 9, verses 8 through 10.
So in chapter 9, verses 8 through 10, then God told Noah and his sons, I hereby confirm my covenant with you and your descendants, and with all the animals that were on the boat with you, the birds, the livestock, and all the wild animals, every living creature on earth. Yes, I am confirming my covenant with you. Never again will floodwaters kill all living creatures. Never again will a flood destroy the earth. So to all of earth, humans and animals. He said, I'll never do this again.
Yeah. Because I have to never curse the ground because of humans and to never flood the earth again. So, and then the rainbow to remind him of that covenant. All right, number 3. What does God promise about the earth in this covenant? And it references chapter 8, verses 21 through 22, and chapter 9, verses 11 through 17.
So in 21, it says, "And the Lord was pleased with the aroma of the sacrifice, and said to himself, I will never again curse the ground because of the human race. Even though everything they think or imagine is bent towards evil, I will never again destroy all the living creatures. As long as the earth remains, there will be planting and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night." In chapter 9, 11 to 17, it says, "Yes, I am confirming my covenant with you. Never again will flood waters kill all living creatures. Never again will a flood destroy the earth." So that right there answers the question.
Right.
He said, never again will I do this.
Yeah.
Now, what I put, he's never going to flood the earth. He's never going to kill the creatures with the flood.
Yep. And that when it rains, we will always see that rainbow. We'll always see it stop.
We'll see the promise of, hey, I'm not going to do this to you again.
Yeah. Like I remembered my promise. It's not happening.
That rainbow's for us to realize and recognize that his promise is still true.
Right. So number 4 says, how does man's relationship with animals change after the flood? And you can reference chapter 9, verses 2 through 4.
So in chapter 9, verse 2 to 4, it states, "All the animals of the earth, all the birds of the sky, all the small animals that scurry along the ground, and all the fish in the sea will look on you with fear and terror. I have placed them in your power. I have given them to you for food, just as I have given you grain and vegetables. But you must never eat any meat that still has the blood of life in it."
So how does man's relationship with the animals change after this? So I had said that the animals become fearful and are terrified of humans in that way. You know, if you think about, I guess, how if you see a deer, the deer stops and looks at you and kind of like bolts.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're terrified in that way, and they become food for us.
So before God told not to eat meat, like basically, like that you're gonna be a herbivore, just eat vegetables, fruits, no meat. Now he's given the approval to actually eat meat as long as it still doesn't have the blood of life. Basically, just being alive. Don't eat it while it's still alive.
Yeah.
You can kill it, cook it, eat it. That's okay, but not just taking a big chomp out of it just because, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know who would want to do that anyways.
Hannibal Lecter, but. So question 5 says in chapter 11, verse 4, what are the people of Babel trying to accomplish and what are they trying to avoid? So I have that they're trying to reach the heavens and be rulers. They want to be like God. They're trying to avoid being scattered throughout the earth, which we know ends up what ultimately happens. So
They saw that they could get to heaven without God.
yeah. So like
They also thought that they were building this to please God, but really it was the sinful nature of humans that we.
I don't think that they thought that they were pleasing him. I really think because like I'm pretty sure it says in there somewhere that they were like, "Nah, we can reach heaven, and you know we can do this. We're smart. We got this. Like we should be able to be up there in heaven."
We're gonna read this part, and we're gonna have a discussion about it. Chapter 11 says, "At one time, all the people of the world spoke the same language and used the same words. As the people migrated to the east, they found a plain in the land of Babylon and settled there. They began saying to each other, "Let's make bricks and harden them with fire." In this region, bricks were used instead of stone, and tar was used as mortar. Then they said, "Come, let's build a great city for ourselves with a tower that reaches into the sky. This will make us famous and keep us from being scattered all over the world." But the Lord came down
to look at the city and the tower the people were building.
No, I just realized you were correct.
All right, so we're going to get into our journal questions. So today we're back in here, and for day 3. So for things you loved, learned, and noticed, I put that God regretted making man because man was so cruel. So, like, for his cruelty. Like, he regretted making man in that way. And you could notice that because he was pretty upset. And when he talked with Noah and wanted to flood the world, he didn't want to see that. And later, when he makes that covenant, he comes back and says, hey, I'm never going to do this again. Even if you guys get as cruel as you got, like, I'm not going to do that. I was just pretty mad that you guys got like that. And yeah, so it was kind of neat thing to see, I guess. And then I did not have any questions or things I wanted to research. Did you, Abe?
No, to be honest, on this day I didn't have anything to write down. I had a bad moment. So
Well, we all have
a moment
those
where
days.
nothing was speaking to me, nothing was clicking. So
For the God shot, I have that God protects his creations and that he will provide. So you can kind of see that later on where, he tells Noah and all, to find all the ones. And I wonder too, like, because all the animals just kind of came to the ark, did God choose, inherently good ones? Or were they the crueler of the kind? Because Noah and his family were more
in
righteous.
Genesis 1, it talks of they were all good. Everything God created
Until the fall, though.
besides us was good. Besides the serpent. Serpent was
Well, yeah.
evil.
Besides him. So.
But he never came back to say that any other animals were evil now or not good. Like, all was made good.
Yeah.
Then we fell. Us falling doesn't make animals bad. Animals were like they were no matter what.
I guess.
We just had that knowledge of, oh, these things could be dangerous.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Like, oh, you see this big tiger. That thing looks kind of scary, you know?
So the bottom says. So it's a prayer. And it says, "Father, I am so grateful you adopted me into your family. You pursued and redeemed me. May I never take your mercy for granted."
Mm-hmm.
And that is all of our questions and journal answers for today, day 3.
Thank you for joining us on our unbreakable faith journey as we study and learn about the Bible and fellowship together. We hope y'all enjoyed, and we will see you next time.